So around
Give me a hard one, Nick. Come on.
So around the time that I look trying to talk. Okay, we good? You got all the giggles out? We're good.
I think so.
So around the time that you sort of took over for Andrew, with Spotty still working in tandem with you there, I think it's safe to say, out of your guys' control, that the scene was not thriving in the way that it was. You know, the years before. I'd say 3 years before, there have been a lot of changes. And I've asked other influencers of the local scene in the South Bay specifically, but just in the Bay Area as a whole, what do you think were contributing factors to that? Because it seemed, in 2008 and 2009, a lot more people were coming out to shows.
The music scene everywhere drastically got hit. I know everyone's going to probably think that this is ridiculous for me to say, but when MySpace died, it hurt a lot of things. It was the easiest platform to promote, for bands to promote music and for promoters to promote shows, for people to interact in an environment that wasn't a show. Like, it's, there was not all these bullshit Facebook algorithms and how hard it is to see shit. It was like, yo, we're all going to this show. Like, let's get pumped. Somebody post a flyer. Boom. Everybody sees it. Word is spread. A new band starts. They want people to listen to their music. There you go. It's on MySpace. You know what I mean? MySpace was a really important tool I used for a very long time to promote shows. And I think a lot of people in the industry will attest that, Facebook is not half the tool that MySpace was. So from an industry standpoint, that hurt. Locally, I think everybody just got older, man. For a very long time, it was like you could have bands come through the area and go play Salinas and then come play San Jose, and both shows had 300 to 400 fucking people out there.
Right.
And it was just like people got burnt out on like a lot of the bands sounding the same, music taste change. A lot of people get into this type of, heavier music, at the end of high school for a couple years. And then it's like people get married, have kids, go to college. They don't have time to go to shows. People, the Bay Area is the most expensive place to live, I'm pretty sure, in the world now. And it's like, okay, do I want to go waste a bunch of money getting drunk at a show and paying to get into the show, or do I want to live my comfortable life at home? It's a question that a lot of people struggle with and more people will deal with, and it's still being dealt with now, So I think that there was just a lot of that happened. There was San Jose Skate, like I said, being lost. There was no place to congregate. We had a place called The Refuge that was pretty good for that. It did very well for a lot of our, post-hardcore. Well, all of our shows did well there. That was a great place. And I honestly feel like the scene was, when Spotty and I first took PinUp over, it was doing, PinUp was still doing well.
Right.
There was definitely a lull. It definitely went downhill.
Yes.
And then started to pick back up. There's every, probably like 2 summers, there's a new influx of kids that want to check out what this music is about. And that happened. And then we lost The Refuge, and then...
Which was kind of the last bastion at that point.
Yes, it was. I would definitely 100% agree with you. Like, we had lost that place. The 418 is still challenging to work with to this day. Not in a bad way, not because of them, just because they have other ways of, paying their rent and keeping the lights on than letting 200 sweaty, pissed off, violent kids in their walls. So, and then Salinas lost, Jumping Around, and the other main spot we did shows at around that time frame as well. So it's just like didn't matter what scene you were a part of, like there wasn't a good place to even host a show. So that, people aren't going to want to go, not everybody wants to go to a show at a bar, not everybody wants to go to a show in somebody's fucking backyard. Cops here shut down backyard shows pretty quick. There's, the county and a lot of Northern California, it's almost impossible to get a venue opened up because there's so much liability. And, you say you want to do metal shows and people think like, oh, drunk, violent people. You don't specify, and people just assume you're going to do rap or country shows, which are generally conceived as having pretty volatile crowds, So, it was just a circumstance. Like, there was no desire to go to these C-rate venues, you know, like nobody wanted to forget about how it used to be, you know, and then there was groups, people factioning off, you know, it became, there's definitely an aspect to the music scene now as far as like who your friends are or what is or isn't cool. And like when I grew up, it was like, hey, I like fucking music. Doesn't matter what type of music I liked music. I mean, I have friends to this day that listen to reggae. I have friends that only listen to rap. I have friends that, you know, fucking all they do is listen to ska bands that haven't even played shows in 20 years. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter. I don't give a fucking rat's ass who you listen to. I don't care who you're friends with. Like, shows should be about the music and supporting bands and being a part of a community and something more, not a fashion contest or who can mosh the hardest or who has the sickest merch or, you know, like, oh, well, like, I like this dude, so I'll go support this band, but this band's sick, but I don't like their drummer, so I'm not going to go. And, like, I don't know if it's like this whole, I don't want to sound like an old guy here, but like this whole millennial thing, I don't get it. You know, it was different when we were growing up. You know, I think we can all agree with that, except for maybe you, Kevin. Sorry, you're young.
I'm actually glad that you went there because recently I was having a conversation with Evan Carr, formerly of Undergone.
Mr. Carr, love that guy.
And
cutest man in the South Bay, right there.
That's what he'd be drinking. What was it? Splurge or whatever? What did he bring back?
Surge?
Yeah.
Surge.
Yes.
So
Evan Carr, Facebook.com/The Surge Movement.
Yeah.
Look it up.
Next interview we'll have that.
Smart man.
So
I wish this was a can of Surge.
I was talking to him, and yeah, really, right? And he was, I was telling him that even though now I would say that the scene's doing a little better than it was a few years ago, I think that we got some better bands, which we'll go into later. But I was saying that I still detected a reluctance from like the next. You said there's a new wave of kids coming, but I feel like they're not as willing. They're a little more reluctant to come out to shows. Do you think? What Evan said was that he thinks one of the contributing factors, and this is kind of, he even said this is kind of old man of me to say, but I feel with like the rapid increase of technology, like I feel like that people are just like, you know, when I was a kid, that's what you did. You went out, like you wanted to go out and hang out with your friends, so you just did that. Now, like you can Snapchat, you can like instantly interact with your friends over so many different like platforms that aren't face to face that there's less of a desire for
a show is not
fixture.
A social gathering anymore. A show is like, it's like almost like just going to a bar. You know what I mean? It's almost, it's like a party. You know what I mean? Like it's a social event. It's not, this is what I fucking super love about my life. Now, not everybody is like that. Like I'm not,
Of course.
I do not speak, nor do I think that everybody believes that. There are still a lot of people in the Bay Area very passionate about music, all kinds, regardless of who your friends are, regardless of the style of music you play. There's a lot of people that still are very passionate, but there's you know, it's just the new age. Just I don't want to say the kids these days line, but like, you know, something definitely changed, and like honestly, there was a lot of I mean, I remember there was a lot of people that had been before my time that didn't take me seriously doing shows, but those people, you know, in all the scenes, not just my generation or the one after or the one that we have now, but like the elders, the older people at shows, you know, like when I started going to metal shows, like real metal shows, not like stuff with hardcore dancing, like, you know, I like that type of music as well. And like those people would buy me a fucking beer and like pat me on the back and pick me up in the pit if I fell down. And like, if I didn't know who a fucking band was, I could turn to the person next to me and they'd be like, oh, like this band's, you know, they're from here, they've done this. And it was like a fucking community. It was like you learned something. It was a story. Like you felt welcomed. It wasn't like, oh, I'm being judged because I'm the fucking New Jack. And that's also a big downfall of especially the heavy music scene, but even in general, even like the indie scene, it's like a lot of people in the indie scene, I mean, I will piss a lot of people off with this, I don't even care. They're hipsters. And the number one thing about a hipster is you don't want to say that you are one, and you want to judge people that you think are. And all the scenes have that. It might be hipsters in the indie scene, it might be tough guys in the hardcore scene, it might be those douchebag, like really old elitist metalheads at a metal show. They all exist. Every scene has them.
Yes.
But the problem is that mentality, I would say in the last 5 years has really overwhelmed a lot of people and has become more prevalent than the whole like, hey, you're new, like, you want to have a nice time? Like, here's a few pointers. Or like, hey, like, oh, be careful over there. Not like, oh, you're in the pit. Sorry you got hit. Like, don't be a pussy. Like, I've never been that way. Like, I respect what happens at all manner of shows, whether it's even raves and EDM. Like, every show, every type of music has the standard of what goes on there. And that's a scary experience for anybody going into anything that you know nothing about. And I mean, if your first experience at a show of any type was everyone just treated you like shit and judged you for being there, would you want to go back?
Absolutely not.
Exactly. And I attribute that a lot to the Bay Area going down, and the flip side of what you said with the internet being more prevalent is that everyone's got a fucking opinion these days, and everyone's allowed to it, but like, it seems that negative opinions run more rampant than positive opinions or good things that happen. And because of that, it makes people not want to support things they don't understand. I'm not trying to make that about myself. It's happened to literally every promoter alive in the Bay Area right now. Every club, every show. Like, I mean, you can go down the list of venues from the fucking Gilman to, fucking, what is it, the Club Gemini in Monterey. And you can post something and you'll immediately see like 3 people be like, oh, fuck that place because of XYZ. You know what I mean? And it's like, all right, you had a bad experience there, but like, was the show sick? Did you see the band you paid the money to see? Oh, sorry, the beer you liked ran out at a fucking busy ass concert. Like, sorry, a security guard was rude to you. Like, yes, those things suck. And yes, I find those experiences unenjoyable myself as well. But it's like, don't sit here and tell people not to support something because of that. And people are so quick to, oh, well, he said it sucked, so it must fucking suck. She doesn't like this place. She got treated bad, so I'm defaultly going to get treated bad there. And it's like, live a little. Go find out for yourself. Like, don't be a fucking sheep. Like, be a leader, not a follower. You know what I mean? Like,
form your own opinions off your own experiences, not what you hear from other people.
What do you mean? Oh, yes, exactly. Like, formulate your opinions. Like, go find out the fucking truth. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of people, this interview is about me, and I'm not been trying to toot my horn at all in it. I know it sounds like I have at times, but it's like, there's a lot of people. I even think Kevin is one of them. Our lovely cinematographer here, like, videographer. My bad. Nobody uses film anymore. Old guy. Sorry. Like, a lot of people have a lot of misconceptions about me. And I mean, I think you even did before the first time I got you drunk off tequila at that fucking restaurant. But it's like, a lot of those people that have said shit about me, they've spent one day around me. Come to a party, been at a bar, been at a show that I wasn't running. And they're like, yo, you're like a nice guy and you're fun to be around. And it's like, yeah, all you got to do is ask, dude. Like, take a leap of faith or a step out of your comfort zone. People are so, it's their bubble and that's it, man. Like, do you know how many friends I've made from walking up to a show and being like, no one's talking to that guy. Why is no one talking to this dude at my show? And I've walked over and they're like, hey, what's up, dude? I'm Joel. I'm putting on the show tonight. Like, are you new? What's the deal, dude? I mean, a couple months ago, I found out that there was some dude here from fucking France visiting his family. And like, he was like, oh, I heard about this show. It looks sick. And like, I don't know anybody here, so I'm kind of not having a good time. And I was like, well, hey, what's up? I'm Joel. I bought him a drink, introduced him to a few people. He made a bunch of friends that night and had the time of his life. Regardless of stipulations, regardless of bullshit, regardless of how society tells you everyone is fucking evil human being. Like, I don't think that's the truth. And I don't think you should ever judge a book by its cover, and just that, and I think that's what destroyed the music scene, is people are so willing to just take everything at face value, not ask questions, and they're just gonna believe what they want. I've been proved wrong lots of times in my life, in my booking career, in my experience with the music industry, at being a promoter, even being a showgoer. I've learned something. I've been proved wrong a lot more times than I've been right. Like, there's not a lot of people that can say they started from the bottom, didn't have any help. I made a lot of mistakes along the way. I lost friends. I lost literal people. Like, I pissed off a lot of people. I made a lot of enemies. And at the end of it, like, people are going to judge me for who I am, but they don't know who I am unless they have a fucking conversation with me.
Right.
And like that's what?
Or they watch this interview.
Well, I mean, I guess most people probably won't think I'm being genuine in this interview, anyways. So.
I think you are.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Same here.
But yeah, I mean, which is part of the reason why I did this interview, because this is not me regurgitating some political like, please go like PinUp Productions on Facebook bullshit. Like this is me being me. Like I don't give a fuck what you like on Facebook. So.
Right on.
I think did I answer that question?
Oh yeah.
I kind of.
Technology sucks. The scene sucks.
Well, we went off for a while, but that's good.
Surge.
Yeah,
That's good.
Surge.
That's good.